Hey everybody, it's Audrey. Happy end of March. Hope you've been busy scrapping this month. You have, I think, 1 or 2 more days till March 31st to get your page in for this month's sketch at Creative Scrappers, and here is the sketch this month. So go check out the blog and link up your project before the deadline. So I have printed out a couple photos to go along with the sketch, and I'm going to follow the sketch pretty closely. And I'm going through this is like my bag of old kits. So after I'm done, these are all Click kits. When I'm done like using a kit for the month, I kind of take it apart and put it in one big bag with all the other kit pieces. And I like to go through and mix and match and pull papers out and embellishments that kind of go along with whatever pictures I'm scrapping at the time. The paper in the background there, the one with the lines and the polka dots, I actually did pull that one out from my stash. That one wasn't from a kit, but I had gone through my stash looking for some kind of off-white, kind of a little bit, something with a little bit of a pattern piece of paper to use as my background. So these photos were taken in the fall, and we take an annual fall trip to the Adirondacks, and I wanted to bring in some papers that kind of had, I don't know, some richer, darker tones, and in some colors that are, I guess, a little bit more fall-like. I guess you wouldn't consider that blue fall-like, but the peach and the yellow and a few brown elements too. So I'm going to stick pretty closely to the sketch, and you can see I'm using the squares in the background, but instead of spreading them out like they are in the sketch, I'm going to just kind of keep these squares a little bit tighter around the grid of photos. So I just play around a little bit. I really like that flower paper. It's really pretty, but it was a little bit too, I don't know, too pastel-y for the look I was going for. So I just play around with picking out some papers and colors and prints and fiddling around with that for a little bit. Again, I said I wanted to keep with some of like the brown and natural look, so you can see I had a craft tag there, and I pulled out on the right there's some like cork embellishments with little gold speckles, and those are from Pink Paisley. They are so pretty. I think it was with their travel collection. And then this piece of paper that I am fussy cutting came from one of the Click Kits kit, and I think it's from Chamel's line, her newest line. And those gold leaves on the dark navy blue are just so pretty, so of course I had to fussy cut them out. So I decided I wanted to add some type of mixed media thing to the background, and in keeping with the square theme, I thought, well, what if I tape off my page with painter's tape and then just have my mist splatters or smushes be just in the square shape. So I just grabbed some painter's tape and I kind of taped off a square. I didn't measure. I kind of used the dots on the paper and the lines on the paper as a guideline of where to place my tape. And I also kind of based it on the size of my photos and the papers behind them. So I just put the tape down. You can see I'm just spraying my packaging there and just rubbing it right into the background paper. I didn't add gesso or anything like that. I'm not using a ton of water. I'm just using a little bit of the mist. And I decided to go in with a gelato around the edges, a little bit. It's a similar color, but it has a little bit more blue in it. And I'm just going to smear that in with a little bit of water on my finger and kind of blend to add a little bit more depth to that color there. What else do I add here? Oh, yeah, I'm going to do the same thing with the gold. I think the gold really adds some beautiful shine and picks up some of the paper in the gold. The gold in the paper, rather. I just love how this looks. I have got to do it again, another page. I'm thinking how cool it would be to do with circles or, smaller squares, or make a grid out of, a grid like this out of squares. So definitely going to come back to this idea of taping off an area and then just using the mixed media products in that space, in that shape. I splattered some seafoam and some gold after I got the top off because the top was stuck. That gold Heidi Swap Color Shine is so watery. I don't know if you've experienced the same thing. It just is so liquidy, and when you take out the wand to splatter it, it's just, you get just so many drops. So I have to go through and kind of soak up the some of the gold. The other colors seem to, dry pretty quickly. Okay, so my paper had warped a little bit from the mist, doing that mist in the background. So I'm just going to tape it down with some painter's tape in the background just to kind of, keep it from curling up too much. And yes, I do try to move my page several times, forgetting that there is tape on the background that it's taped down. So anyway, so I love how adding that kind of greenish seafoam color to the background, how that just kind of makes everything flow together. And I really wish I exposed more of that square, but I also liked the pattern papers I had. And then I thought if I did the square, too big, I don't know, it just would have taken away from the design. So, yeah, I guess I'm happy with it. And again, those leaves, those fussy cut leaves with the gold are just so, so pretty. So I switched out my tags. I originally had a craft tag there that said hello on it, and I replaced it with a vellum one that said hello. They're the exact same size, and, both had twine on the end. So, and then I brought in a little corner piece of paper of peach down there because I felt like the peach in the top right, that peachy pink color was kind of overpowering and just need to be a little bit balanced out on the bottom left of the cluster there. And once I have all these paper layers done and my background done, it's just a matter of really embellishing and putting embellishments down. There's a couple little tiny cork, they're kind of star shaped, and I scattered those around. And then I'm using these feathers, which kind of look like leaves too. So again, putting them kind of in a visual triangle. They kind of flow diagonal and then go up to where that little tag piece is. And then, again, just looking through all this stuff. I love the way that Today sticker looks, but I end up changing it because I have so many pages that say, hello today. And when I get bored with or tired of trying to be creative, of making titles, I just, use pre-cut things that are in my kit and put them on and make a page title out of it. So I have quite a few pages that are titled hello today, so I end up changing that to something else. I thought perhaps I wanted to bring in a little black and white, so I'm looking at some of the black and white embellishments, but I just decided that adding any little black and white strips just made it too busy, and I decided against adding anything black because I felt that the dark blue, dark navy blue and black would kind of compete on the page. And I have a black tag on there right now underneath the word today, but I end up taking that off. So again, I'm just going to kind of push some things around and play around with a few little more details. So these photos we took in October on our annual trip to the Adirondacks, and we stopped to play mini golf in Lake Placid. And they had this really cool hole with kind of like a waterfall, and the green for that hole went behind the waterfall, and my son actually got a hole-in-one on that hole, so he was very excited. And then I kind of walked around and went down these steps, and I took their picture through the waterfall, looking into kind of the cave where the hole was. So that was a really, really fun time. So all of the things I'm using here, all these embellishments, were from old Click Kits kits, and I'm sure that, well, maybe a few of these things are still left in the store. Some of these kits are a lot older. I think many of the papers that I used came from a kit back in maybe August or September. So, okay, so here I change out the word today because I found this tag. It's from a Pink Fresh Studio collection, or not a tag, a little die cut saying that said crazy fun. And those two words perfectly describe my children. Crazy and fun. More crazy than fun. some days. I had to plug so I record with my camera, and my camera battery was about to die, so I had to plug it into my laptop to charge while I'm filming because I didn't want to run out of battery. Okay, so the rest of this is basically just me, gluing some things down and starting to put all of my layers together. And again, I'm working from the top down, so, I have everything just where I want it. And I start by doing the top layers first and kind of just building down from there. I decided to kind of matte each photo with a little piece of brown paper, just because I felt that they were kind of getting lost in the background with that kind of the aqua paper, the lines on it that I had them on. So I'm going to, matte each of those. I am stapling on something. I don't know. That little plastic tag and the cork pink paisley embellishment there. And it's that stapler thing, by the way, is from We Are Memory Keepers, and you can staple anywhere on the page. It is an awesome tool. I love using that because the base goes underneath your page, and then there's like little markers where you line up where you want to staple, and then you can staple anywhere on your page. But I just, took the one little photo off and stapled it because it wasn't glued on the page anywhere yet. I only added a little bit of adhesive underneath the vellum tag because I am going to stitch over it to help secure it down. So just a little bit to keep it in place for now. And I'm going to edge distress all these photos and then glue them on that kind of aqua color mat there. And I'm going to speed this part up because really this is mostly just me gluing. I mostly use liquid glue for gluing everything for a couple of reasons. You only need a teeny tiny bit. It's easy to just kind of like lift up a corner and stick the glue bottle underneath there and then just squeeze a tiny drop and, push it down and it's glued. And I don't know, just the ease of use. I think sometimes it's easier than a tape runner. But anyway, I've used liquid glue for a long time. This glue I use is called Mixed Media Liquid Adhesive from ThermoWeb, and it dries very fast. So I love to use that. I mean, I do use a tape runner for certain things, like vellum or things that don't stick well with liquid glue. And the thing I think people have trouble with liquid glue is that a liquid glue is water-based, so it can tend to warp your paper, especially if you're using like really, really thin scrapbook papers, like from like Michael's or Hobby Lobby or something. If you're using the really thin scrapbook paper, a liquid glue does not work well because, again, it's water-based. So anyway, my little adhesive tip for the day. Okay, so I felt like I was pretty much done, but I wanted to kind of frame this whole cluster a little bit more. So I decided I was going to hand stitch, but I'm like, no, I don't want to spend the time doing that. I have to be in the mood to hand stitch because it takes a while. So again, kind of going with this, like the natural feel, I broke out some of my twine here. This is just jute twine. I think it's mostly used for like jewelry making. And you can get it in the like bead section or jewelry section of the craft store. And I just kind of drew a square kind of bordering my square cluster there. And I poked a hole in each corner, and I'm just threading the twine through it, and I'm using one long piece of twine on each side of the square. I kind of fudge it a little bit in the top right because I have the twine kind of going underneath that blue piece of paper. So, I kind of just pushed it under there and fudged. And I think that is pretty much it for the page. I won't show you all this twine bit, but you'll get the idea. And there is my finished page. So I did add that little circle for journaling and put a little sticker on it and the date and my label up at the top. And there's those beautiful leaves and layers. So thanks so much for stopping by today. Go check out the Creative Scrappers blog. Again, you have only a few more days for March, but April will be up on Saturday. Thanks so much and stay scrappy, friends. See you soon.